All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back right here at NRB 2024. Clayton, you can look right that way. There's the audience. But when we're talking, we can talk, man. This is a fun, organic, grassroots kind of interview.
Oh, yeah.
We've been live streaming all day. Second interview of the day. And Clayton Van Huss, I mean, talk about a modern day Indiana Jones. Some of my favorite movies growing up.
Yeah.
Archaeologist in Israel. I mean, what better place, right?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
So I'm gonna cheat real quick. I'm gonna read from the bio, the official bio. Topic involved with biblical archaeology. Clayton Van Huss is a field archaeologist currently excavating at Tel Shilo. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, Tel Shilo, if you're local, whatever you want to call it.
Student at the Bible Seminary in Katy, Texas, where he's pursuing an MA in Biblical History and Archaeology. Spent ample time in the Holy Land. I mean, you'd have to doing digs.
Right.
And often invited to guest lecture on biblical archaeology in churches and study groups. You're also the director of Affirm and Apologetics Ministry with Southwest Radio Ministries.
Yeah. Wow.
Clayton's great to have you, man.
You sound great.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had your brother on the show about a month ago, talking Tennessee politics, talking secret societies.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun, man, but I expect you to level up.
Okay. I'm going to tell him you said that too.
He's going to be here later.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Clayton, let's get started with let's just jump into the fun stuff, man.
Yeah.
Archaeology in Israel. But you're from what, Tennessee?
Yeah, that's home.
How does this happen?
So, all right, so this thing happens. I'm an actor, right? So that was what I'd studied in school. I was doing small independent Christian films mainly in Northeast Tennessee with a small ministry. And so you can picture this. And then in 2020, I'd always said if I wasn't an actor, I'd be an archaeologist. And in 2020, God gives me the opportunity to go to Israel for the first time. And so I see people there, and they're trying to get like mojo off the land. They're touching things. They're kissing
like spiritual
things.
mojo.
Yeah,
the Holy Land mojo.
Yeah, they're trying to have an experience.
Does it bring you closer to God if you rub like a wall or a rock?
If you rub something, if you kiss it, yeah, I guess it's going to make it better for you.
I feel like all of our presidents and high-level governors would be very blessed if that's the case because of all the kissing.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of that goes on, right?
They even put on the yarmulke, dude.
Oh yeah,
to do so.
Sure.
Now, do you have to wear a yarmulke?
In certain places, if you're in a certain Jewish holy place, then yeah, you have to cover your head. You don't have to wear a yarmulke. You can, if you have your archaeology hat, because we've watched Indiana Jones. All archaeologists have hats.
Yeah.
So if you carry your hat with you, you're okay.
I got a funny yarmulke story. It's my only yarmulke story, actually. Yeah. I just stopped playing professional baseball. I'm in Atlanta trying to sell roofs, and I find this like pretty ornate Jewish temple that was like on the street I lived on, and I'm like, well, hey, I mean, they look like they got a lot of money because they did. I mean, this place was ornate, man. Yeah. And the roof was like specialized metal roofs, which our company like. Oh yeah. That's where we manufactured these roofs. Was in Atlanta. So it's like this is going to be a home run.
Yeah.
So I walk in, and I mean, it was just as ornate on the inside as the outside. Yeah. They had like a huge a thing like this full of yarmulkes.
Sure. And
I was like, I want to sell these people a roof. I better put on a yarmulke.
You take one out.
I mean, it probably was like pinned on the wrong way, but I put a yarmulke on my head. Went and tried to talk to the facilities person in the Jewish temple. I wasn't even invited.
Yeah.
I never came back. I never got invited back.
Oh yeah.
I think they sniffed out like,
this guy.
We've got our people, brother. Like, stop faking it.
That's probably about right.
Yeah, the roofing salesman that wore a yarmulke. That's
all
me.
right. Good for you.
Anyway, sorry.
You wear that stuff. You do what you got to do in the holy sites. And of course, a lot of the Christian holy sites, you have to be decent and cover, and then you go to Muslim holy sites, and you have to cover arms and legs.
Even more covering.
Oh yeah. So
lots of covering.
It's an exciting place.
Yeah. So you get to go to Israel that first time.
Yes. Oh yeah. So that's where we were. Right. So I'm watching people touching things, kissing things, and it's winter time. It's January. It's raining. I see stone. I see cold, hard, wet stone. That's what I see. But I think God spoke to me more through that than I could ever have imagined. I remember going to Magdala and seeing the synagogue that had been covered by dirt in the first century. So this is the same floor of the synagogue that was there when Jesus was there. And the Bible says that Jesus taught in all the synagogues of Galilee. And Magdala is where his friend Mary was from, Mary Magdalene. And so, of course, he taught in that synagogue. So I could stand there, I could look at a spot on the ground and say, wow, Jesus stood right there. Jesus taught the Bible right there. And that spoke to me, but what spoke to me was the cold, hard, wet stone. I'd always believed, right? I was a believer, but now I saw.
Were you already into archaeology?
I liked archaeology, but I was more into like Scandinavian, like Anglo-Saxon, Viking archaeology, and
it's
early
all cool
church
stuff.
history. Yeah, but this...
And they have stone too in Scandinavia.
Yeah, they do have
stone.
It's cold there
it's
as
wet
well.
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So it spoke to me. I mean, in a way that I can't explain. And when I came back, you can't make Christian movies in East Tennessee when nobody can come out and play. And it was COVID.
Okay, yeah.
COVID hit. And so I'm sitting there like making no money. I'm editing video. I have a lot of video I shot in Israel, so I'm editing that. I'm going, what do I do? So I start watching these documentaries on biblical archaeology and being like, yeah, I was there. But also being like, man, I'd love to do that. So God moved, and he spoke to me in ways that only I can say that he spoke to me. And so I went to seminary in Texas, the Bible Seminary, where they have a master's degree in biblical history and archaeology. And the guy who's over the program, Dr. Scott Stripling, he's an excellent biblical archaeologist.
Dr. what?
Scott Stripling.
Oh, okay.
With Associates for Biblical Research. And they dig at Shiloh. It's the largest dig in the Middle East. We had 220 volunteers last summer. And it has been amazing to go put my hands in the dirt, and to become an archaeologist has just been amazing.
Which, it sounds amazing, but I hope you've done more than just put your hand. Have you found anything?
Actually.
Have you been thrown down in a pit of asps, the snakes?
Okay, no, but I almost stepped on a Palestine viper in the city of Shechem, which is in Nablus. But I was taking a step, and I heard something rustle beside my foot, and I looked down, and there was a Palestine viper, and it went the other way, thankfully, instead of biting me. Yeah.
Is that related to the Hamas viper, or did it?
Very close. They're in the same city there. So
the Palestine viper, while deadly, is probably not as willing to strike. Maybe it kind of like lays back a little bit.
I apparently so, because if it was ready to strike, I'd have had a nice bite on my ankle. Yeah,
that's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So tell me some details of the dig. I want to hear.
Sure. So what we've got, we're digging at the site of Shiloh, which is where the tabernacle stood for over 300 years. The Ark of the Covenant was there. It was the first capital of Israel.
Now, by tabernacle, we're not talking about Solomon's temple.
No,
we're talking about
Solomon's
the tabernacle.
temple would be built in Jerusalem.
Right.
After the so the tabernacle, as the Israelites are coming from Egypt and they're coming through the wilderness, God tells Moses, build a tent. It's going to be a temple. And so he builds this tent called the tabernacle. And so they pick it up and they move. It's a portable temple. And so they set it up when they conquered the land. When I say they conquered the land, if we read our Bible carefully, we know that they didn't conquer the whole land. They conquered certain sites, certain cities in the hill country. And so they set up the tabernacle at Shiloh. That would be the capital of Israel. It would be the center of worship.
Yes.
The city of Jerusalem is still the city of Yebus. It belongs to the Jebusites. It'll be taken by David maybe 350, 400 years later. So we're looking at this site that's the first capital of Israel. And so we're digging there, and what we have found has been beautiful. It matches up exactly with what we read in Scripture. The evidence of the Israelites. It's in the ground. It's beautiful. And I'm ready to tell you about it. I do have an artifact. I did not
put it on this table.
Can I grab it? Can
Please,
I leave?
yes.
Just
We need the artifact
back.
from Israel. It's pretty cool. You know what? While we're waiting on him, I'm going to pull up the live chat. I should have done this from the beginning. If you guys have questions for any of my guests all day long, if you guys have questions, put these questions in the live chat. All right, that goes for any guests that I have. I will be checking these periodically. I really hope that this is streaming. We'll check on the technical aspects in a minute.
All right. So what I've got here, it is not scientifically significant, which is why I'm allowed to keep them, because they're basically potsherds. from Shiloh. So I want you to take a look at those. I'm going to talk to you about them, see if you can figure out what they are. But they're pieces of pottery. You can see they've been chipped.
Well, I was about to say pottery, and then you took that away from me.
Yeah, well, right. I'm going to give you. It's not that simple.
If you're wanting to know like the type of pottery, I'm out of answers.
Not going to bother you with that. What we're looking at is probably about 2,000 years old, Roman period. But they've turned them into something. And so my first dig season at Shiloh, I'm finding these, and I'm asking my supervisor, I'm saying, okay, this is a jar stopper, right? You have a jug or a jar with a hole, you put a piece of cloth over it, and then you push your stopper in, and it keeps bugs out and stuff like that. I'm like, these are jar stoppers, right? And she's like, no. I was like, are you sure about that? Because somebody obviously formed them, and she said, yeah, they've been chiseled, but those aren't jar stoppers. And I kept finding them, and I kept asking her, are you sure? And she's like, no, if that's a jar stopper, that's the ugliest jar stopper I've ever seen. I really wanted to impress this girl, right? and she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, come on. So I started to look them up, and I was studying secondary uses of pottery. And now that you've handled them, I can tell you what they are. They're toilet paper.
Toilet paper. This is like petrified?
You see all the concretion on there? I'm assuming that's, what gets left on toilet paper. So you might want to wash your hands before lunch.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It's old. These are toilet paper, or like compressed over years, or this was something that toilet paper.
This is a piece of pottery that someone cut into a circle, and then they used to clean themselves.
Wow.
Yeah. Would you like to use something like that?
Interesting.
Look how little that is. And the cool thing is, I looked in the Hebrew.
Now, I don't want to touch my face. It's like 3,000 years old here.
Yeah. In the Hebrew writings, in the Mishnah, you're allowed to have them 3 different sizes. The size of an egg, the size of a nut, probably an almond, and the size of an olive. And so it looks like I've got an egg and an olive sized here. So
they have official sizes you can have for toilet?
This is a religious thing for that.
Is this why Jewish people are so good at law and like keeping all the rules?
Because everything
you get 3 sizes of butt wipes?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So the cool thing is they find these in Greece and in Rome as well, and they'll have names written on them. The names of your enemies or whatever.
Really?
So yeah,
that makes
get
sense.
like Spencer's Gifts and buy like Bill Clinton toilet paper or whatever. It's the same idea.
That was
so.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. But so the cool thing is, apparently I impressed this girl because she said she'd marry me last month. So we're good.
Congrats, dude.
Hey, thanks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Wow.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell me about, like, one of the things I read that really interested me, because I've heard about in Texas, they've got these cow farms where they're wanting to usher in really the book of Revelation, their interpretation of eschatology.
Right.
And they're thinking, if we get the red heifer, we get that over there to Israel, then now it's weird because on the Jewish side, they're looking for their Messiah.
Yeah.
On the Christian side, it's like we've already got a Messiah.
Right.
I have a sneaking suspicion this is not the same person.
Right.
Right. But we're as American Christians shipping cows over there to make. Now, are they laughing at us, or are they thank you for the red heifers?
Well, so Numbers 19 is where we find the red heifers. So you can go back and read that. We're not going to get into it right now. So what's happening is, I'm digging at Shiloh. It's a religious community. They're very religious people. So the red heifers have been sent to Shiloh. That is where they are. And the people of Shiloh are so excited because, and I follow some of the government people there on Facebook or whatever in that area, and they're posting, now the Messiah can come. We are so excited. He will be here soon because now we have the cows.
How long has it been since the last red heifers that were acceptable?
Right, that were acceptable. It goes back to when the Romans destroyed the Second Temple. Now, even further, as far as I know, there were heifers between the First Temple and the Second.
Right.
The First Temple was destroyed in 596 BC by the Babylonians, and that's when the Ark of the Covenant. We're not sure what happened to it. We're not sure what happened to the ashes of the red heifer. And of course, you need those to cleanse things. You sacrifice the heifer. And
what's the chances they're like underneath the Vatican?
I'd say those chances are small. My guess, personally, would be underneath the Temple Mount. A lot of tunnels, a lot of stuff going on.
Who would know? Who would know for sure?
Nobody.
No, if they're underneath the Temple Mount,
God?
somebody.
Sure.
You don't think there's any
tunnels,
records?
No, those tunnels are unknown. They find them. We have my mentor Scott Stripling has done a documentary and some other things recently where they have gone down into one of those tunnels, and my fiance was the one who crawled through them to kind of find. She almost got stuck. She went through because she was small enough to do it.
Yeah.
But then they bring like this camera, and they can only go part way through. They found the signature of an archaeologist from the 1800s, and that was the last person who'd been in there. So we don't know where these tunnels are. We don't know how many. This one we believe is a specific tunnel because it has a white chalky substance, and Josephus talks about the rebels fighting against the Romans in 70 AD, and they were appearing on the Temple Mount out of nowhere, and they would be white, covered in chalk. So probably using this tunnel.
I want to come back to the tunnels. I got a question on that, but before I forget this question, why does it take a bunch of Christians in Texas to breed red heifers if it's the Jewish people that want their Messiah?
Yeah.
Well, why aren't they breeding the red heifers?
Because people are obsessed with eschatology.
People here.
Yeah, people all over the world. I mean, people want to know what's going to happen in the end, right? I mean, we're humans. We want the spoilers.
But this is a specific Jewish thing.
Right.
We want our red heifers for our Messiah.
So many Christians believe that we need to build that third temple. That has to happen. And the Bible does seem to indicate there's going to be one. Problem is, everybody's trying to force it. They're saying, well, the temple was never on the Temple Mount, so we can build the temple somewhere. No, the temple was up there. Archaeology shows it. There's not an archaeologist alive who believes the temple was not on the Temple Mount. There are people out there who are saying this, and they're impugning the
they don't know what they're talking about.
Right,
saying,
yeah.
Okay.
But they have taken, they took a nice Jewish archaeologist, Eli Shukron, who is the head. He did the city of David. Very well respected archaeologist.
He digs
he digs. He has been put into a documentary where they've said, he's not ready to tell us that the temple wasn't up there. And he's like, the temple was up there. He's angry.
Probably it's like an assumption at this point,
and here's a guy who calls himself a Christian who has impugned this guy's reputation.
Sure.
Yeah, that's an easy word to forget, right? We never use that.
I forget easy words all the time.
So here's this Israeli. What is he going to think of Christians if they're out there like shooting him down and doing this? But here's the stuff that's going on. We're being stupid and silly because we think we need to get in the way of God. We think if we don't get in there and do it, God can't do it. God can do what He wants, when He wants, how He wants.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this pseudo-archaeology and things that are going on are just so we can manipulate and get what we want out of our beliefs. It's crazy.
That makes total sense. So what is your, I understand having a love for something. I played baseball for 30 years of my life until I couldn't anymore.
Right.
Was that to further the mission of God? I mean, I hope in some ways, but really it's because I love baseball, right?
Sure, yeah.
Is this for you a passion of the heart because God just, you love it?
Oh, yeah.
But is it also a ministry?
Absolutely. It's a bit of both. Of course, I am the director of Affirm Apologetics. And I believe, and our motto is to illuminate the Scripture, to educate the believer, and to defend the faith. And so, it's a passion to uncover the truth of history, to find is the Bible when the Bible makes a claim, can I trust it? And absolutely, everything that we find in the ground, the verisimilitudes at Shiloh. I told you the tabernacle. We believe we have found the tabernacle. We've found evidence of the Israelite sacrifices in Shiloh.
Yeah.
We've found all sorts of things that point right at what the Bible says. So my passion is to find, because you're going to get a lot of, I hate to say it, but almost conspiracy theories on biblical archaeology. Stuff that comes off YouTube videos. Oh, look, they found chariot wheels at the bottom of the Red Sea. They found this or that, or they found Noah's Ark here in Turkey. No. The real stuff is
I was going to ask you about Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
No, seriously, because I mean, if you see some of those well done documentaries on this is the outline of Noah's Ark, and now it's like a grassy, and you're thinking, if you don't know any different, which I don't.
And we don't. That's my passion. Because before I became
So,
an archaeologist,
so you're not
I
poo-pooing
believed
those
this.
people that are,
No,
or are you?
I'm not poo-pooing the people who believe it. I'm poo-pooing the people who made the claims.
Okay.
Because
Because they're making an absolute claim when it's in question?
Well, either that or even sometimes they know that they're wrong and they do it anyway.
Well, it's
They're
a moneymaker
facing
at
the
that
flock.
point.
Yeah, and they are taking advantage of believers, and that should not be. We need to look at everything. We need to see these people. They're saying, "Oh, look what I found." Well, they're not excavating. They're not getting licenses. They're not publishing their finds. My mentor, Dr. Stripling, Scott Stripling, you can look him up. What he teaches us is the goal of archaeology is not excavation. It is publication. Because if you find something that's great, I can find these and I can be like, look, these are toilet paper. And you're like, wow, those are toilet paper. I got to wash my hands.
You lied about that.
Actually, I did. To the best of my knowledge.
He's going to go over there and laugh at me. He's like, I seriously made this guy think.
No, to the best of my knowledge, these are toilet paper. They are Pessoy. You can look them up. There are papers written on them. But see, that's the thing is I can make any claim I want. I can write a popular book. I can go to churches and speak. I can make YouTube videos that look really cool and that are really convincing. But if no scientist, if nobody who is trained has examined my work and said, yeah, this guy's onto something, or wow, that is really bad and here's why, then my work is no good. You have to be able to falsify a thing. If something is unfalsifiable, and what that means is if it's wrong, it has to be able to be proven wrong. I can tell you, oh no, an angel told me this, or Jesus himself appeared to me and told me this.
Yeah.
Can you prove that false? No, you can't. That's unfalsifiable.
It's a personal claim.
And so when we start making claims like that, we're not doing good
What's
work.
the word for that when it's a personal claim that nobody can like dispute it, because there's a word for that. We'll think of it later.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What is, now this, you probably don't get asked, I'd be surprised if you do get asked this question often. I'm not saying that Netanyahu and others are secular, but I'm saying, generally speaking, the secular political nation state of Israel.
Yeah.
What do they think about the work that you do, these digs? Do they approve it because they're like, hey, this is awesome, we're getting Christian interest?
Right, you're bringing tourism in. So like the secular, and Israel's a very secular nation in many ways. It's a very interesting country.
I just didn't want to claim that
right.
a particular politician, that's an individual basis on what they believe.
Yeah.
So that was why I stated it that way.
No, the secularists, they're happy with us because we bring tourism. And that's Israelis, Palestinians, whatever, we bring dollars. So they're happy. The religious Jewish people are happy because what we're finding, affirms what the Bible says. I don't know how happy they are with our New Testament finds, but certainly, where we're digging the Old Testament.
Well, as I've dug
sites.
into this, I've been shocked at the amount of rabbis on YouTube I've found that are constantly round the clock working to still disprove the validity of Jesus as the Messiah.
Sure.
And not in like I'm sure there's some angry ones, but from a very intellectual perspective, and they're going back to their Talmud and Torah and all this. I didn't know that apologetics against Jesus existed still to the degree that it does, but I'd never gone looking for it.
It does, and I find that amongst the common Israeli people, whether they're secular or religious, and the same with Palestinians, most don't have a problem with Jesus, with believing that Jesus existed. Now, as to his claims of who he
Which
was,
kind of matters.
yes, then you might have like questioning or just like, well, I don't believe that or whatever.
Well, they can't.
But,
I mean,
right.
to truly be old school Jewish,
right.
like as soon as you claim Jesus the Messiah, you're a Christian.
Oh yeah.
Period.
But it's the way it is. Like where we stay, our hotels, we stay in Palestinian hotels, and it's like the hotel we stay in. The guy who owns it is a Christian. So we know a lot of Palestinian Christians. We know a lot of course, the wait staff, the people who work in the hotel are mostly.
Now you're saying Palestinian. How much time do you spend in Gaza or West Bank versus Israel proper?
So we actually spend most of our time in the West Bank, or Judea and Samaria, however you want to say it. We spend most of our time there. Tel Shilo is in that part of the country. It's along Highway 60, south of Nablus. We stay in East Jerusalem, so we stay in Palestinian areas. So we spend a lot of time in Palestinian areas.
Okay. Have you felt danger? lately?
No.
That's
One
interesting.
time, and we did have an incident. And before we went on the air, you and I talked a little about it. It's okay, I'll share the story.
Please.
Okay.
But one clarifying thing before you do. Just so the audience that doesn't know the geography.
Right.
You're not saying in Gaza.
No. We do not go in Gaza.
That is a different story, because right now, I mean, it looks like a post-apocalyptic zone.
Right. No. We're talking about the areas that you have your A, your B, and your C areas. You have Israeli-controlled areas, Palestinian-controlled areas. You have Palestinian areas under Israeli military jurisdiction, and that's where we dig, is in that area where it's
safer.
Right, it's safer. We can go to a Palestinian gas station if we need to get something. We can go to an Israeli gas station. It's kind of an area where people. Yes, there's trouble in the West Bank, but
sure.
And all in all, everybody gets along.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to clarify, because a lot of people just think, okay, there's Gaza and then there's Israel, and you're saying Palestine, so you must be in Gaza. And I'm like, no, that's not the case.
We are in what the Jews call Judea and Samaria, what the Palestinians call the West Bank. So that's where Shiloh is. And so we had been in the city of Nablus. Nablus is a Palestinian city. It's the city of Shechem is there. Jacob lived there with his sons. There's an interesting incident you can read about in Genesis 34. But that's also where the well, Jacob's well, where Jesus talked to the woman at the well, is in the area of Shechem. Shechem is in the middle of Nablus. So we'd been up in that area doing some things, and we were driving back down Highway 60, driving down towards Shiloh, and all of a sudden a thing happened. Now we're in Palestinian territory, and this pickup truck in front of us in the road screeches to a halt and goes sideways. Okay, so we've got an archaeologist driving. We've got a bunch of archaeology students and some archaeologists in the van, and we're going, okay, what is this? Two guys get out of the truck. One guy comes running towards us. The other guy pulls out a gun and gets in the driver's seat. And we're going, okay, this is weird. And the guy comes running to us, starts beating on our windows and yelling. We don't care if he's yelling Arabic or if he's yelling Hebrew. Our driver just floors it.
Yeah.
Because you're in a bad place. You don't want somebody to, kill your people.
Yeah. A screaming Middle Easterner that you don't know coming at you is never good.
Yeah. Now I could
regardless
see his
of the hat, man.
And the guy was terrified.
The guy himself was terrified.
I could see his face was just.
He knew he was going to die.
Right. He was telling us, stop, don't go. So of course we go. Our driver floors it, and the pickup truck is in front of us again. So the pickup truck once again screeches to a halt at a gas station, and there's some trucks with Israeli soldiers behind them, and this guy gets out of his pickup truck, he pulls out his gun, a handgun, and he's got a yarmulke, so we know he's Jewish, and he's adjusting that as he goes running towards the gas station, and so we're behind him, and there's a guy standing by the gas pumps with an M16. Starts shooting at him with us behind him, and I know he shot the guy twice, and then the guy who was in the pickup truck unloaded his handgun and killed the guy. Shot him down and then walked up because the guy started to stand back up and shot him down. So what had happened is there was a little restaurant there, a little hummus restaurant.
Hummus?
Yep. And so two Hamas gunmen, Hamas claimed credit, two Hamas gunmen from up in Nablus had gone into the restaurant and shot two teenage boys and killed them. They shot a young man who had just finished his military service and was going on with his life. They killed him, and then they killed a 64-year-old man who was pumping gas outside. So the guy in front of us was just an armed citizen, just an armed Israeli citizen who stepped in. Yeah, and he took a bullet in the arm and one in the leg and killed the gunman. There was a second gunman who got away. The IDF chased him down later that day and got him. But yeah, we were there. And that was right just a few hundred yards from Shiloh, from where we dig. So these things, this was this past summer.
Yeah,
these things happen.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well, where would be the main place for people to follow you? Would it be ClaytonVanHuss.com or?
No, I would. If you want to follow me, you can go to AffirmApologetics.com, which is part of Southwest Radio Ministries. If you want to dig with me at Shiloh, you can go to digshiloh.org.
That would be a yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's cheaper than a tour. It's
really?
Cheaper. Yeah.
Do you get to do any touring if you go on a dig, other than just walk around?
So in the evenings you
Because
walk
the wet
around
stone,
Jerusalem.
as great as it is, not everybody is
Not
going to have
everyone
this
can do
love.
that.
Like,
Yeah. So what you can do is on the weekends, the archaeologist will load up a bus, and it might cost you like $30, $50 to go to, because you got to pay your park fees and your
ain't bad.
lunch. And so on the weekend, you get on a bus and you go see different sites, and the archaeologists will tell you what they are. And if we have a licensed tour guide, they'll give a tour. But if you dig, you can go on the weekends and tour.
that is really
It's
cool.
awesome.
That is really cool.
digshiloh.org or affirmapologetics.com.
All right, just so everybody knows, at the end of this day, so we got the live stream going all day. At the end of the day, I will do a breakdown, and I'll put in the description. So go in the description. All of these links will be available, including your cell phone number. I'll put Clayton's cell phone number in there.
Sure.
Call him up, text him any questions you have about Red Heifers, Israel, Temple Mount, or if you want to disprove that the Israelites
call me
existed.
a liar.
He will get into a debate with you on text message.
That's what I do.
Man, I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much,
great.
Clayton.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
You too.
Yeah.
So guys, we'll be back. I'm going to put it back on my little loop screen, and I will see you guys here in about 10 minutes. I'm also going to do a sound check. Thanks.